Hi, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About This. My guest today is Andre Paradis. Andre's mission is to help people create long-lasting relationships. This is going to be an interesting
Mhm.
conversation. First of all, Andre, where are you talking to me from? Where I like to ask people where they're from because I
Sure,
I talk to people all over the world. So, where are
I'm
you?
with you.
Where are you
I'm
at right now?
I'm in Los Angeles, California.
Okay, Los Angeles. Were you born and raised in
No,
LA?
I'm born and raised Canadian
Oh, okay.
In Quebec City, Canada.
So you're Canadian.
I'm Canadian.
Oh, okay. All right.
Pretty good, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
I've
I
never
mean,
s-
I hear the accent. That's why I had to
yeah, yeah,
ask.
yeah. I've
So
never said
let's
that in my
let's
life. Okay.
right. So let's get into this. So you're basically a relationship expert.
Mhm.
Why would you say that you are an expert in relationships, and what experience did you have to give you that title?
So, a good question. My brain at the age of 5 became fascinated with the human condition. I was born in a family that I didn't feel I belonged in. It was really crazy. 5 years old, like when my brain and my feelings came together, I'm like, what? I like how? So there was a mistake in the world,
Hmm.
in the matrix. I was
Right.
born with the wrong people. How's that possible? So what happened is my attention kind of became focused outwards, my radar, and I started watching people and trying to understand my circumstances, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
as a kid who was always watching people my entire life, I was fortunate to always have a friend. So I wasn't a complete weirdo, but as a rule, I was the guy in the corner watching,
Mm-hmm.
right? So fascinated with the human condition is what came next and trying to understand circumstances. Why does this guy turn out to be cool with swag? I remember a 15-year-old in my class when I was in high school. This 15-year-old kid, he's got shaggy hair and he keeps like throwing his bangs back and shaking his head, and the girls are fainting. He's walking around like he owns the place. He's 15 years old. How is that possible, right? That's,
Right.
but like you know what I mean. And then this one's a geek, and this one is a brain, and this one like how do so that was always my focus, looking at people.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of developed an ability to tune into people, which
Okay.
is a gift that came from that. So beyond that, at the age of 23, I started doing personal development workshops. Again, trying to get my brain together, my life together. I didn't know why I was here. I
Mm-hmm.
was just trying to make sense of it. But
Right.
I always had this little tug in my chest, in my heart, in my soul to pull me forward because
Okay.
I thought I was going to check out. Honestly, I didn't know I was here. So where the hell, if I don't belong here, then give me the hell out of here. But every time that thought came in, it was a little, no, no, keep going. There's something big for you to do. Okay, interesting. 15 years old, 17 years old, 22 years old, like this tug at pushing through. So personal development for years, when people thought it was weird, now it's much more in the culture. Back then it was weird. When you spend a weekend in a workshop, we're going to the beach. What's wrong with you, dude?
Mm.
I'm like, hey, go ahead. Have fun. I'm gonna learn some shit. Anyway, so 2006, this was a lifetime of doing stuff like this. 2006, um, I owned a different car. I had a car business in Los Angeles. I was constantly studying, researching, um, workshops all the time. I ended up in a workshop in Northern California that was a business workshop, 3 days to help me elevate my revenue in my business. I'd taken as far as I could with this brain. So I'm searching for information, right? I've always done stuff like this. On the flight back from that weekend, I met a couple on a flight back to Los Angeles. We're sitting in the same row, the couple and I, in 3 row, 3 seats, thinking it was random. Changed my life. A
Mm-hmm.
moment in life that's the serendipity that sort of I've had a few in my life, and this was one of the biggest one in the chain of events. The lady says to me on the plane, she goes, "What do you do next weekend?" I go, "Next weekend I'm free. Why?" She goes, "You want to come to a workshop? It's on me." Right? I'm like, "Yes, of course." Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm that kind of guy. It's free. She's offering for
Right.
free. These could cost thousands, right? So after I agree, because I don't have my weekend booked out, I go, "Well, what's it about?" I
Right.
already agreed because I know I'm going to learn something, whatever. So she
Mm-hmm.
says, "Oh, it's called understanding women." Huh? Wait, what? And when I tell this story to my friends, they're always like, "Is this such a thing? It's ridiculous," right? My reaction was not that. My reaction was more because I'm an artist at heart, and I couldn't explain it to you, but I actually thought I knew something because I always attracted sweet women.
Mm-hmm.
You meet my wife, you go, oh my God, yeah, I get it. Like she's just like who she is, right? That was
Mm-hmm.
always my go-to. So I didn't do the crazy stuff my friends did with the yelling, the screaming, and the, I attracted sweet women. It was easy for me.
Right.
So understanding women, I'm gonna spend a weekend in the workshop, and it's really. So now I'm regretting, but I went because I said I would, and I thought it was gonna be cute. And I walked in that workshop on a Saturday morning by the airport at LAX.
Mm-hmm.
400 people in space. Whoa. Okay, not cute. Something's going on here. Now, 300 women, 100 men. What? This is so weird. What are women
Mm-hmm.
doing here? Understanding women. What are you doing here? Right? Because in my brain, if you had a workshop understanding men,
You
there would
think it
not be
was all
one
men.
dude. There would
Right.
not be one dude in there, right?
Right.
There
Right.
wouldn't be in there. So where are the girls? Okay, whatever. That's just right. And it was interesting because they had us seated strategically with women around us,
Mm-hmm.
the men kind of thing. Interesting. Anyway, so whew, all I can tell you is this guy who thought, he knew women somehow, just from my life experience and my ease,
Mm-hmm.
seemingly thinking it was going to be cute. I slipped off of my chair 7 times in that workshop. Like slipped off my chair with
Like literally,
disbelief.
you literally
Like I
slipped
slipped
off
off
your
of my
chair?
chair with disbelief. Like, are you what? And every time we had one of those big moments of teaching, the facilitator, excuse me, the teacher would say to me, just so you don't think it's me, the crazy woman in front making stories, let's take
Right.
5 minutes and check with the ladies around you. And sure enough, big bomb, like what? And I go to the, remember there was a 19-year-old next to me and a 30-year-old on this side. And I go to like 19-year-old always first. They go, what? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, how can you function like this? Well, not well, but that would make me crazy. Yeah, sometimes we're crazy, but and sort of confirm what I was learning to the left, to the right, to the front, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is when this whole thing started for me. This whole thing started for me. I realized at the time I was married to my beautiful bride. We have a toddler, a 4-year-old, and a baby, a toddler. And I came out of there understanding that I knew nothing about women,
Mm-hmm.
which meant I knew nothing about my wife.
Mm.
And that freaked me out.
Wow.
Again, I have 4 siblings. They're all separated, divorced, three, four, one's on four,
Mm-hmm.
right? They all screw that up. Now I have my family, I have my angel, I have my kids. Life is
Mm-hmm.
good. We don't look for this stuff. But
Right.
now understanding what I didn't know just freaked me out. So the teacher in me, the learner, the guy who wants to know everything, exploded. So I ended up taking all this workshop the company offered. They had 9 or 10, maybe 11. I did
Mm-hmm.
all their workshop, pay the money, was there for weekend after weekend. And after you're done with the workshop, if you've taken and paid for the workshop, you could go back to assist for free, right? To allow you in the room to be there to assist because they need staff, right? So Tony
Right.
Robbins is the same thing. So after they did the workshop, I was in every time it reoccurred locally, I was there staffing to hear the information, integrated, ask because the question would come up different, even in the same type of workshops, right? There's so many layers. I just needed to have it. I did not want to be a statistic because I didn't know.
Right.
That was my drive.
Right.
So I'm a teacher at heart. So eventually, within a year, I was on track to become one of their um, workshop leader
Mm-hmm.
because they had many workshops and many workshop leaders, right? Um, and that became whoa, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want to do. Now, I didn't end up staying with the company, logistical stuff, right? Politics, like the material is amazing, but the politics were crazy. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
interested in drama. I'm not interested in confusion. I'm a dude. Like, let's make this work or not. Okay. So, but that kind of popped the lid on what I was learning, what I wanted to learn, right? So I went from that company to study with 4 other masters. I have 5 masters under which I studied and researched over
Mm.
the past like since 2006. So that's when you say, why are you an expert? It's
Okay,
because
you
I'm
have
actually
five
five
master's degrees?
no masters people like masters in the field of relationship
Oh,
teaching. Five
okay.
masters
I
in
thought you.
people like,
Oh,
like
okay.
I look at it like I look at it a little bit like Elon Musk, right, is a genius.
Right.
But Elon Musk understands physics, he understands chemistry, he understands quantum energy, right? Like he's got these deep knowledge of different quantum things and different like high level of knowledge.
Right.
that when you have this many and they kind of like loop together because they kind of do even know that they're a different approach to science, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
they connect from the top. There's another layer that only if you have that kind of background can you get to because they can. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying.
That's sort of what happens
Yeah.
to me as I study with John Gray, Hester Perel, Shanti Felhain, Alison Armstrong, and Dr. Pat Allen here is a family child marriage therapist for 46 years. I
Mm-hmm.
spent 3.5 years in a space with her, like privately, me and three or four other people. All right. So all the stuff that she knows, she's learned the past 46 years as a therapist,
Right.
men, women, dynamic, anyway, so training. So I have 5 masters in different fields: psychology,
I see.
anthropology, science, chemistry, right? And then human behavior
Right.
that kind of all come together on the other
Right.
side of it. So they
Yeah.
each have their mastery, but I got them all,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they all connect. So on top of my own research, I'm constantly researching. This is like this is my file for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Research material, right?
Wow.
Because
Okay.
there's so much to learn,
Right.
right? And
Never
my
stop. You never stop learning.
never
That's one
stop
thing.
like,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to help people like
Yeah.
thoroughly and be able to even approach them in their own lane, I want to say.
Exactly.
So that's how I consider myself an expert. I think, the cocktail of what I have, I think may be untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's and you don't know this, but like I coach my clients. That's all I do. It's not a hobby. It's my job. That's how I pay the
Okay.
mortgage and the cars. All right. It's not cute. And on the other side, part of my work is I'm an ordained minister. So some of my clients I actually marry them myself. I just did 2 last summer.
Okay.
So when we go from not understanding men to marriage to not understanding women to marriage, like that's the work. And I get to be the guy doing this. I'm like the luckiest guy I know. This is what I do for a living, right?
Okay.
And the marrying people on the other side is like the cherry on the sundae. It's the
Mm.
ultimate honor. I can't even tell you. So
Wow.
that's my
Wow.
life.
Wow. So, what foundation values do you believe are necessary for a long-lasting relationship?
Values
Let's
and
get into the
well,
relationship.
you have to go into right. So like one of the big thing in my world is 4 things that you have to have in order to sustain a long-term relationship. Right? Like 2-year relationship, 6 month relationship, it's all crap, right? It's not a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, it's a tryout.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't know how to maneuver in order to get the long term. Just
Okay.
'cause it's not in our culture, it's not taught anywhere, and we kind of flip the script on masculine and feminine. So women are more masculine, men are more feminine. It doesn't work. It
Right.
doesn't work. So that's part of the problem. But the 4 things you have to have in order for a relationship to go long term, healthy, fulfilling is you have to have chemistry for each other, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Chemistry is God given. You can't make more or less of it. You have it for him. If it doesn't have it for you, not gonna
Right.
work. Right?
Okay.
Chemistry primary. So you both have to have chemistry. That's the chemical hook. You have to be compatible.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a really tricky one that most people miss
Mm-hmm.
because compatibility is not, the compatibility is, are we going to the same direction, want the same ending? If
Mm-hmm.
you want marriage and kids and he doesn't, you're not compatible.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a bunch of way people fall out of being accountable that they didn't research 2 years, 3 years about falling in love, being together, and they realize they're not compatible. They never had the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's religion. Sometimes it's like how we raise the kids, under
Mm-hmm.
which religion. Like all these things have to be addressed up front. We have to like be going in the same direction. If you're going
Mm-hmm.
two different direction, never going to work. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to crash eventually. You're going to get your heart broken. You waste 3 years of your life. You're
Mm-hmm.
resentful. You have to recover.
But
No,
is but
right?
is that something that people normally do when they come into relationships? Because
But
mostly people don't think about those things when they come in
that's
relationships.
that's what I'm saying. This is
People when you meet somebody, the first thing uh the first thing is attraction. Most people
chemistry,
look for,
chemistry,
yeah, I
chemistry.
mean, you
Yep.
got to be, yeah, chemistry, personality, you know,
Personality.
things that you like about a person. So
Right. So what
that's not normal though, like
that's
to
but I
look for
mean,
those different things. You know what I
but
mean?
but that's what smart people do. The ones who succeed, that's what they do. They vent the person that they're with.
That's true.
If you're gonna go long term, this is to get this. This is one of the big problems in our culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? We liberate women with the pill, right? And you go, girl, get yours, blah, blah, blah. Fine,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what happened is this. So typically, like you go on a date, you like him, you like Sue, fantastic. You get second, third, fourth date.
Mm-hmm.
At around three or four, you like him, you like Sue, you look at each other going, mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you cross into intimacy. Did I mean? So, and what happens when you're intimate without, because I'm gonna say, after three or four dates, after a month even, you don't know the person at all.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know them. You don't
Right.
know how they fight. You don't know what's wrong with them. You don't know their quirks. It takes 9 months to find out in a relationship with somebody you see once or twice a week. It takes 9 months. This is very predictable, by the way. We
Mm-hmm.
think we're all independent. We're very predictable in the growth and the train of the development of knowing each other. It takes 9 months to find out if you have a deal breaker with somebody. Nine
Mm-hmm.
months.
Okay.
A psychopath can lie completely. They're so smart. At 9 months, it falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The guy was a really fun guy to play. He likes to party, have a lot of fun. It takes 9 months to find out he's a drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So what happened is after a month, 3 dates or whatever, right? When you have sex with each other, the chemistry of that, because it changes our bodies, it changes our brains, right? There's a whole lot of whoosh bonding,
Mm-hmm.
dopamine for us, oxytocin for women, endorphins flying everywhere. We have this good feeling, right? This is a fake compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know each other. You don't know who he is. You don't know how he fights. You don't know his value system. You don't know. Like I had a client that they realized 3.5 years into the relationship, never had the freaking conversation, that he always, since he was 9 years old, he was going to be retired in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
That never came up.
Mm.
So when he's lining up and he announces it, right, in the next 5 years, we're going to Australia. She's like, "What do you mean?" She's in Michigan somewhere. She goes, "I'm not leaving my family. Where'd that
Right.
come from?" He goes,
Mm-hmm.
"I had that goal since I was 9." They never talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not compatible, right? So compatibility is huge because it comes in 75,000 layers.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the conversation before you have sex.
Right.
Period. Now, that's
Right.
not what people do. So they get all sucked in, and you realize 7, 8, 9 months later, right, as you get to know somebody that you probably shouldn't have crossed the line with because now you're in love and you're bonded,
Mm-hmm.
especially for the feminine, you realize he's a drunk or you have a deal breaker or it's not going to work or he's a vicious fighter or, she's unreasonable in every way. So you can't ever negotiate anything with him.
Mm-hmm.
People fall apart, but your heart is broken,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And people can only sustain so many of these till they give up. In
Right.
my experience, women can get their heart broken up to like 5 times and they give up.
Yeah, I mean, because yeah, women are more
For men,
um
it's one. For men, it's one, maybe two.
hmm.
Men
Well,
don't survive.
for from my experience, I had my heart broken one time. And this, I was really young. I was fairly young though. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So sometimes you can think it depends on how old you are when you come into a relationship with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, don't do you think that would be
Mm-mm.
the case? Because I know
Nope.
for me, when I first got married, I was young when I got married. I was 18 when I got married,
Yep.
you know, and I was still young and still kind of a naive.
A little
And
bit.
I thought that,
The
I
fairy
mean, I
tale.
fell in love. Yeah, I could
There you
say that.
go.
I fell in love.
Yep.
But the thing is, after so many years, I kind of, things kind of changed a little bit. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like we kind of
That
grew apart. So, we really I don't you think what would you say to people who would think that, okay, I'm in this relationship, but most people don't really think about a lot of things. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
Like,
I know.
you
I
get
know.
into a relationship, you meet somebody, and the
You,
first thing is love at first sight, but you don't really know the person's background. You don't know the root of their mental problems or none of that.
yep. Yep.
So,
So my point is, when we're younger, we all do this. Everybody's got a first love, a first crush. Everyone, 16
right.
years old, 17 years old, right? Like 18 years old for you.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're wide open and vulnerable, we believe in la-di-da fairy tales and happily ever after. And the marriage is the point. The marriage is going to make us complete. It's going to make us happy. It's going to make us, this is what we want, right? This is the go-to. This is sort of la la land stuff.
Right.
Now, understanding the marriage is not happily ever after. It's a whole bunch of negotiation and conversations and
Mm-hmm.
readjustment constantly.
Right.
The people who are succeeding in marriage are the one who have each other's back.
Mm-hmm.
And in our culture, we fight together. We're combative. Women are combative with men, and men don't respond to that and push back. We're
Mm-hmm.
combative as opposed to complementary.
Right.
So, right, the relationship to this day, that lasts 30, 40 years, she wants him to win and he wants her to win. So when there's conflict, they don't go at each other's throat
Mm.
and yell and call each other the name. They calm down, they take their corners,
Mm-hmm.
right? They chill out, they come back and go, okay, what's this happen? How did we get
Mm.
here?
Mm-hmm.
And they talk it through because that they're in it to win together, not blame, not destroy, not step on top of,
Mm-hmm.
which is ridiculous, right? This is what teenagers do. So adults who actually understand this is my person because nobody's perfect, but this is again an adjustment in the conversation and negotiation of like how I don't like when you do this, like like I really don't like how you do this. It makes me feel like this, and you know, can you like rethink this a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then typically they didn't know that was exactly right. So in the this doesn't work for me, this works for me. Like the whole this is what we adjust to each other. And it's in a
Mm-hmm.
conflict resolution. Not people think that if a relationship isn't easy and fun and easygoing and there's no trouble, if it's not easy, it's not the right person. It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
exact
that is
opposite.
ridiculous because
It's exact opposite.
nobody's
First,
perfect.
you're not perfect. He's not
Yeah.
perfect, right? So let's
Right.
get over that crap. But the
Right.
conflict, get this, it's even better than this. It's actually in the conflict resolution that we get tighter bonded.
Right.
If we have each other's back and we have a problem and we're here to really kind of see eye to eye and talk it through and negotiate, and
Mm-hmm.
understanding sometimes we all have triggers per our childhood and past, right? So you have to discover those with each other.
Right.
Like all these things, it will come up, but it's when people are able to have each other's back, communicate, when they solve the problem, it's in the conflict resolution, and people go, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Now you could trust that person even more. They're trustworthy. They have your heart. They have your back, right?
Right.
And another big conflict, boom. And a big conflict, boom, boom, boom. So it's in a conflict resolution that we bond
Mm-hmm.
because we
Mm-hmm.
understand and trust. This is why some couples who have been
That's when
together
you start to
60 years, right?
mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
I understand what you're saying because, in a conflict resolution, that's when you start to find things out about each other in between those conflicts. But when you give each other that open space or that safe space, I understand what you're saying,
Ta-da, ta-da.
to talk about, the things that bother each other and resolve those things, it
Right.
does make sense. I mean,
Well,
that's
as
where
a
you find the conflict resolution. It's all about solving a problem. You know what I
ta-da,
mean?
right? It's not about it's easy, it's not easy. You know what I
Right.
mean? He's a
Right.
jerk, she's crazy. No, well, she's crazy for a reason. She's a jerk for a reason. How we get here?
Right. Right.
Again, if we actually if you did the investigation, if you did the compatibility stuff, if you lined up in all ways,
Mm-hmm.
personalities and injuries, and triggers will happen. How
Mm-hmm.
do you deal with this? If somebody, seriously, one of the things that people fall apart over is that people don't fight fairly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when women are accused of this all the time, men are like, this is not what we're fighting about. Stop changing the subject, right? But you'll just dodge everything if you feel like you're losing. Like it's not fair. It's not
Mm-hmm.
fair fighting. It's not fair negotiation. It's anything to not take accountability because it's never my fault,
Mm-hmm.
right? Men are like, forget this crap, right? Like this is not a woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. I don't want to be in conflict. This woman who refuses to take responsibility or
Mm-hmm.
vice versa, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
can refuse to be accountable for the things they do wrong. They refuse to
Mm-hmm.
have the bye bye
Right.
again. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not the conflict; it's how you solve it. But in the conflict, also you realize who you're dealing with. Are
Right.
they fight fair? Are they vicious? Right? Are they going to narcissistic? So it's all about them. So if they don't win,
Mm-hmm.
they'll shame you.
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah blah. Right? So people reveal themselves. But again, start with sex, and you're going to get there really quickly without even
Mm-hmm.
because you've never vetted a person as compatible long term.
So what are your go-to strategies for
Mhm.
resolving conflicts in a healthy way?
I teach
Because in a lot of relationships, people don't even know what it means to even
Ah,
sit down and communicate with each other about what's going on with them. You know what I'm saying? Like people
no,
in a lot of relationships, people just don't do that. You know what I mean? They fight, they argue,
yeah,
and
well,
then they might not be around each other for a few days, and then they right back to
right,
each other again. And with a lot of women are emotional, so a lot of us are easily susceptible to bringing a man back into our space without resolving the
absolutely,
problem. You know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. This is actually part. I'm also an educator of effective communication strategies.
Okay.
That's my work. This is where I help the most. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. I also decode men and women. So I teach men about women, women about men. I have the owner's manual on both sides. It's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It's fantastic. Right? And then the rest of it is how do we negotiate the communication? How do we come together? How do we, right? The
Right.
scripts. I have scripts for people to be able to do this appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing about communication, and you know this, but you don't know this part, right? Is that whether it's in business with your family or with your loved ones and or your husband and wife or girlfriend and boyfriend, we don't realize that we speak and listen completely differently.
Mm-hmm.
And we like are blind to this because I'm looking at you. I speak English. You hear the words that come out of my mouth. So we're communicating.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I say, ladies filter it with a filter that's not, they're not hearing what I'm saying. They're trying to figure out what I'm trying to say because
Mm-hmm.
that's how you communicate with each other. And when you say something, I'm thinking you're being direct because that's how I speak.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone, when you, not knowing this, you constantly miscommunicate.
Mm-hmm.
You assume he said this. That's not what he said. You assume he meant that. That's not even what he meant.
Mm-hmm.
It's so obvious that the tone of voice, that's nothing, tone has nothing to do with anything for us.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand tones. You all about tone and hints, innuendos, the finesse, the energy behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Your feelings drive the show. You don't hear the words we use because you speak to each other that way.
Right.
You girls talk to each other that way. You know what you're talking about.
Right.
I'll give you a
Right.
ridiculous example, a ridiculous example, but that was the beginning of my with the recovery, the discovery of this madness.
Mm-hmm.
My wife was here with a few girlfriends. It was late afternoon on a Saturday or something. It was still early. I thought maybe we should go to the movies. The girls are about to leave. Let's go to the movies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
late afternoon movie. So in front of the girls,
Mm-hmm.
I asked my wife, she goes, babe, when the girls leave, do you want to go to the movies? I'm asking a question.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I got. You ready? She's like, yeah, right. So I'm like, great. I want me some plans. The girls are like, what in the hell is wrong with this dude? How stupid is he? Because yeah, is a no
Right.
to every woman in the space,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is how you communicate. Hints,
Mm-hmm.
innuendos, tones of voice, right? Afflections. We don't. I'm listening for the words. So if you say, yeah, that'd be great, or yeah, it's still a yes.
Right.
I'm
Right.
listening to the words. So she thinks that I know that it's a no.
Mm-hmm.
But she said yes, so I have no idea. I start making plans, and now she's furious because she didn't feel like going to the movie. She just wanted to chill out after the girls leave.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't say that. So we do this kind of crap all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another thing that
That
what
that's that's what you call being honest. You have to, well, I guess you have to be honest. You know
we
what
don't
I'm
know we're doing
saying?
it. We don't know we're doing it.
Yeah, we don't.
We
Because a
don't know
lot
we're
of
doing it.
times I think it is the fact that you try to please the other person. And then in the long run, that's not good either, because if you're pleasing somebody in your relationship, what are you doing for yourself?
Hello.
You know what I mean? What are you giving
Right.
for yourself? If you're giving someone in a relationship more than you're receiving, then there's something wrong with that relationship. To me, the relationship is not balanced.
Well, it's also a big challenge for the ladies because you want to be pleasing and pleasant and easygoing and fun. You don't want to be trouble, right? So you often will acquiesce to whatever's in front of you just because it's easier, it goes with the flow, and you don't want to be a pain in the butt, right? So it's hard for most women. It gets easier when you get older to
Mhm.
hold healthy boundaries around what you like, what you don't like, what you want to do, what you don't want to do.
Right.
And so you just go, yeah, sure, whatever. And you're resentful because you wanted to stay home and chill by the
Right.
pool. But no, now you're at a movie theater It's cold, you don't like it, and the movie's stupid. But now she's mad
You
at
just
me, and
you just
I
you
have no
just remind
idea.
you just reminded me of a situation that happened in with me and someone I was dating at the
Mm,
time. I was in California and actually I think I must have had a I don't know if it was the change of the weather out there on the West Coast or whatever, but I was sick as a dog when I landed in California.
Yay.
The first day, first of all, I don't know if it was the terrible flight, but I couldn't hear. And then a
Mm,
day later I got sick. And my boyfriend at the time uh asked me if we want to if he if we can go to the movies. And I said, okay, let's go to the movies, and I'm like
Feeling
sick
like
as a
crap,
dog and I'm
right?
just agreeing. And so I take a cup of NyQuil or
Mm,
DayQuil. I don't know if it was NyQuil or DayQuil. I took something.
mm.
But anyway, we got to the movie. I ain't seen one bit of the movie.
Oh, you fell
I
asleep.
slept the whole movie.
I get it.
So I can understand what you're saying. I should have just said, look, no, I'm not feeling well. Let's just stay here,
Please, because
and-
if you tell a man how you feel, he will honor that. This is our instinct. We want to
right.
be your heroes. But if
Mm-hmm.
you don't tell me, I'm not going to guess if so like, but it's hard for most women, especially when you're younger, to hold your own boundaries. You feel you'll be difficult and not pleasant. He's going to get mad. He's be disappointed, and you want none of that. So you
Mm-hmm.
fold,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that doesn't work for you because eventually you met, like I said, my wife was mad at me in the movie theater because she was cold and she didn't say
Because she
anything.
didn't she didn't
She
really
didn't.
want to be there.
That's what I said, but she didn't say that, did she? She's like,
Right,
yeah, right. Like
right.
so, this crap, right? So that this is again another way. I heard the. I'll give you another one.
Mm-hmm.
Hysterical, terrible at the same time, right? She says to me one time, this is on a Sunday afternoon, late afternoon again, and she's like, "Hey, babe, do you want to go out for dinner tonight?" This is a question.
Right.
Understand? Do you want to go for dinner tonight?
Mm-hmm.
I heard a question. So I went, hmm. Yeah, no, I don't feel like going out. I want to change. I just want to, well, I'll just throw some stuff on the barbecue. She's
Mm-hmm.
pissed. She's pissed.
Mm.
Well, what happened? I answer a question. Now I'm in trouble. Wait, what the hell happened?
Right.
And I discovered again this communication crap that we don't understand is so it wasn't a question. It was a statement of what she wanted. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't say she wasn't asking me if I want to go for dinner. What she meant is take me for dinner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, another woman would have gotten it, right? Because when
Mm-hmm.
you ask a question, women, ladies, when you ask a question, it's always a statement of what you want. We don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I say no for dinner. She's furious. And then so again, I'm a communicating guy, right? So eventually I had to go clean that up. Like, I don't know what the hell happened here. So,
Mm-hmm.
babe, do you have a second? Can you chill? No,
Mm-hmm.
not yet. Okay, so I'll give you 30 minutes, right? Let's just take our corners and figure out what just happened because I have no idea. And I'm really
Mm-hmm.
getting pissed off because I I don't know how we get here. Am I
Mm-hmm.
the enemy? I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what happened. I didn't even know it was a question, by the way. I had no idea.
Right.
So we kind of calmed down. We came together. Go, what's going on? What happened? She says, well, I didn't. It's Sunday night. I don't feel like cooking, and I know you said you're gonna grill, but like I still have to make the salad and stuff, and I just don't. I'm not in the mood for any of that. So I thought maybe we should go for dinner. So I could just, and I go, well, why did you just say that?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you just say that? Well, because that's too assertive, that's too forward, that's too her asking for what she wants, which could be considered selfish. Or like this is what you ladies do. You question forward everything, so you're not clear, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, next time, can you just say, I don't feel like making dinner. Is that okay if we go out? I go, great, because I want to please
Mm-hmm.
my wife. I want her to be happy,
Right.
right? And then I'm like, of course, who cares? Let's not have dinner. Sure, I'll
Mm-hmm.
change my clothes. You don't feel like cooking, like, but we don't. This is so when women ask question, it's never the question. It's
Mm-hmm.
always you have to decode the statement behind it. What she's trying to say is not what she's saying. What I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying is always what I say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you're like, what does he mean by that? I say something, and women go, what's he mean by that? What's he trying to tell me? Right? Because that's how you ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. But like, that's one of the things we do this with people at work, with our co-workers, with our bosses and employees, with our husbands, with our family. Men and women constantly are triggering, and you think he's a jerk for
Mm-hmm.
not getting it, and you think he thinks this is what we think you're crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that
We,
comes from the fact that a lot of people are not, a lot of people are, I know for me, like this podcast is a mental health and wellness
mm,
podcast. And I've learned a lot as far as becoming self-aware and learning about things that trigger me and things and setting boundaries
mhm.
and using the word no, because no is a complete sentence, for me. Because a lot of times I think what it is the fact that we are so accustomed, not everybody, but sometimes we can be accustomed to just doing things to please other people.
Yeah, that's the only,
But
that's a
but
normal
that's not a
feminine.
good thing though, because it becomes that's unbalanced because, like I said previously, if you're pleasing someone else in a relationship and you're not getting anything in return, that's not a healthy relationship.
Well, sure, but that's
You
not
know
what
what
we're
I mean?
talking
Because
about.
you're constantly doing things to please the other person all the time. And a
But
lot of times you could get into relationships with people who ain't never satisfied.
yeah, right. Again, that's another discovery, right? That's another
Right.
discovery of the two, like compatibility.
Right.
Do we have the same, kind of understanding of what support is?
Mm-hmm.
Now, but I'm going to say what you just mentioned is very naturally feminine in essence.
Mm-hmm.
Women want to be pleasing and pleasant instinctively because if she's pleasing and pleasant to him, he's going to protect her.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to like her and protect her. So if the house burns down or is on fire, he's going to save her. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a go-to instinctual stuff. It's not a thought process. Huh? It's sort of an instinct to be pleasing and pleasant and easygoing and
Mm-hmm.
and lovely and blah 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 and be no trouble. Because if
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't like you, he may not protect you from the tiger. It's an instinct,
Mm-hmm.
right? The part that you don't understand again is that I could be mad at my wife and I'm still going to rescue her from the fire,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's the honor of being a man. It doesn't matter
Right.
how I feel, I do the right thing.
Right.
You function on your feelings. So if a woman's mad at another woman, she may reveal all of her secrets, on social media to all her friends because she's mad at her. It's
Mm-hmm.
justifiable. We don't do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Well,
So
not all, no,
you
but not all
no,
women.
there's no such thing, but it's a trend. It's a
Right.
thing, right?
Right.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
this there's an 80-20 norm,
Right.
right? So women tend to be like this. So you because your feeling drive the show.
Unless you're a private person like me, I
If your feelings drive the show and I did something to hurt your feelings, I'm gonna pay for that.
mm-hmm.
Right? And you think because you think I'm like you. So if you think I'm mad at you, then I'm not going to rescue you, then I'm not going to be honorable and do the right thing. That's
Right.
wrong. It's another way you don't understand men, and it's another thing we don't understand women.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my whole life. Everything is opposite.
Mm-hmm.
We're completely opposite of each other. And in our culture, we're trying to be men more feminine because the women say, I just want a sweet, vulnerable guy. No, you don't. That guy doesn't make you feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You lose respect for him like this and trying to find yourself a macho douche,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And women are raised to be masculine, go girl, boss babe, don't need no man.
Mm-hmm.
Not one masculine, normal male will stand for that crap.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
can be
think that comes,
masculine. Yeah.
where I think that comes from. That comes from, I think, with some women, is the fact that a lot of women have been in relationships, probably, long relationships and might have went through a divorce or a broken long-term relationship and, started doing things on their own for so long because sometimes I think what it is a lot of women today are very independent and doing things for themselves, making their own money, you know what I
Mm,
mean? We get in our own bag now,
mm.
and it's not the fact that we don't need men, it's the fact that it's a thing where because I know when I was a kid, my mother always told me whether you're married or not, always make sure you have your own. You
Well,
know what I'm
that
saying?
I understand, but that's how we raised all of you. That's the problem.
Yeah.
when you don't calibrate it, when you don't like kind of regulate it. Because we used to raise little boys. This is like 30, 40 years ago. What do you want to be when you grow up? We don't ask boys this anymore. We ask women.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go, girl, you're supposed to be independent because you can't trust men. They're toxic, they're dangerous, they cheat on you, right? So protect yourself from men, get yourself independent and get your own bag, like you said. Except every one of my clients,
Mm-hmm.
past the age of 35, are tired, exhausted, cranky, miserable, overwhelmed, don't want to work so hard, don't want to fight their own battles. They don't want to pay all the bills. They don't want to live
Mm-hmm.
like men. They're tired.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're looking for companionship and somebody to support and help them, except they've been in masculine mode since they were like 5 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't know how to be feminine any longer, which is the only way men see you.
And I think that comes from the fact that, a lot of women been in bad relationships,
That's secondary. No, it starts at childhood, 5, 6 years old. It starts with your daddy. No, no
Yeah,
daddy,
it
bad
starts,
daddy,
that's true.
right? You can't trust men, and you man up. It's 5 years old, 6 years old. That's where it never starts. It's not the
Well, the root
relationships
of
that
the,
come
that's
later.
the, right. I
Right.
understand what you're
But
saying.
the
It's,
root drives every other relationship, right? If you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
trust men, you're going to attract a man that you can't trust and try to change him, and he's going to show you can't trust him, and the next one, and it gets worse and worse.
Right,
So
right.
that's just the flow of it. It's just this is why it's essential to do your work. If you want to be in a healthy, any kind of healthy relationship, you have to clean your stuff up, and your stuff
Mm,
up is all the damage and all the baggage from your childhood.
right,
That's where I start with my clients. We have to start. I can't get anybody in a healthy relationship with the
right.
baggage of your childhood and the other bad relationship that came after that. It's
Yeah.
impossible. You can't.
You
So
can't. Yeah,
that's the
that's true.
work. That's the work. So a lot of these masculine women are damaged. Like I had a wounded feminine in
Mm-hmm.
childhood, no daddy, bad daddy, abuse, neglect, abandonment issues of all kind. Some have
Mm-hmm.
all three plus sexual abuse. It's crazy what happens to people.
Yeah.
But then you protect yourself, you man up because you can't trust man. You're alone in the world. You're not worthy. You're not lovable, obviously. Otherwise, you would have been loved differently as a child. We take that personally and we go prove to ourselves the rest of our life that we're not lovable, that we're not
Mm-hmm.
worthy, that and that's what we all do. So broken masculine is the same. The guys who are all femmed out, that are these soft soy boy that can't stand for themselves. They don't want to work. They don't want to take care of women. They don't want to be responsible. They want to spend money. They want to go 50-50, right? Like go girl with your power because they don't have the balls to be men.
Right.
Also broken, wounded masculine where they didn't have a father, most of them, to role model after to show them how to be a good, healthy man
Right.
and overly babied by mom because women do this, right? They over nurture. So at the age of 13 plus, these boys without daddies basically start to straight up believe that women are here to serve them.
Mm-hmm.
These are the boys, right? And these are
Mm-hmm.
the ones who like take advantage of women, lie, cheat, scam, right? Every dude in jail is a girl with a penis. Like this is not this is wounded masculine.
Mm-hmm.
So don't tell me you want a sweet, sensitive boy because you
Right.
don't, because that's who they are. These are the cheaters, the liars, the one who hurt and rape women. And these are
Mm-hmm.
the ones who are toxic. Men are
Mm-hmm.
not. Men provide, protect, cherish, support, lead.
Do you think that
Women,
comes from the fact that a lot the men, those type of men, come from homes where the mother wasn't there for them?
no, the mother was driving them. No
Do you
daddy to
think
guide
that's what it
them.
is?
It's factual. It's factual. So what happened is that in a healthy, normal relationship, like a family system, right? The father energy is supposed to be an umbrella of safety over the family.
Mm-hmm.
So if daddy is a provider, protector, everyone feels safe, which means
Mm-hmm.
mom can be a woman, right? Who then will nurture lovingly the children,
Right.
right? But with the umbrella of dad over the family, the boys have a role model. This is what a man does. This is how they accountable. And the father energy also will train them and
Mm-hmm.
socialize them into accountability, respect, and appropriate use of masculine power, blah, blah, right? Like you need a man, a good man to teach boys how to become a good man.
Yeah. And
Right. So let me,
unfortunately today in today's society, a
that's what
lot
I'm
of
saying.
a lot of
So
men are coming
no
right.
daddy, no role model. But get this. So no daddy, no role model. Then that means if there's no daddy, mom becomes mama bear. She
Mm-hmm.
has to turn into her masculine to protect the children, and survive.
Yep.
When mama bear is in mama bear mode, she's a dude. So basically, she can't nurture the children right.
Mm-hmm.
right? They're kind of neglected emotionally. The boys ended up being overly babied, so they don't learn to be man and
Right.
actually provide for themselves. So they look on women like mom to provide. The little girl role models after mom and become
Mm-hmm.
as manly as she is.
Mm-hmm.
Because she also never felt safe, like mom never felt safe. And this is a tragedy
Yeah.
of broken families.
Broken homes. That's what I was gonna say. And that's
That's
where
the
a lot
tragedy.
of that's what's going on in society right
That's what
now.
he's saying. This is
Yeah, a lot of
the
children.
numbers are insane. The numbers are insane.
Oh my God, the numbers are unbelievable. A lot of kids are born into broken homes,
Like straight up.
in today's society, you got to remember, first of all, it's a lot of children having children, first of all.
Well,
I had my first child when I was 17, you know what I
mm,
mean? So at 17, that's it's not really normal to have children that
yeah.
young. It's that we made it normal. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
it's
no,
become a
it's
normal.
I
It's
know, but
become
it's because of the circumstances and
it's a,
culture. I'm telling you,
right,
like if a
right,
little girl doesn't have a father to ever feel safe with,
right.
by the time she becomes a teenager, 13, 12, 13, they crave so much attention from men. They're dying to feel safe. They're dying to connect with men. They never had a true connection. So they are promiscuous. They take a
Mm-hmm.
lot of risk. They're freaking
Yeah,
crazy, but they're
yeah.
male crazy. It's not their fault. It's the
Mm-hmm.
circumstance, right? So they end up having kids out of wedlock and early in pregnancy and teenage
Mm-hmm.
years and crazy shit. But it's again, it's a system failed them. It's a
Yeah,
reaction to the system. So it's not a choice. And the
right.
fact that we don't make that normal is that there's so much of that that it become normal, but
It
it's
right.
insane. It
It
is not
is.
right. By the
Right.
way, that's my job to change all this.
Yeah.
I have a God calling to recalibrate culture in this country and the world slowly, along with other disruptors, to reframe this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Reframe this whole thing. We have to go back to raising healthy children in healthy family,
Mm,
understanding how to create healthy families to raise healthy children who can then become emotionally safe,
mm-hmm.
right? Safe, not avoidant, not anxious, like secure, so they could create secure attachment with other adults when they get to be adults and then create their
Right.
own family to get some healthy kids, right? That's the only way to society will survive. The way it's
Right.
going right now, everything's falling apart. When family falls apart, culture and society falls apart. Look what's out there. And
Yeah.
we call that the new normal. Forget that
Yeah.
crap. I'm not taking it. I refuse to be part of that. I'm going to throw a wrench in that because now, again, think about what's out there. It's crazy. Everything that is normal is now stupid and weird, and everything that's crazy, stupid, and weird is the new normal.
Yeah.
It's a
That's
shit
true.
show. It's a shit show. That's
It
that.
really
So we need
is.
to flip back. We went too far.
Yeah.
All right. We're not talking to going back to the 50s. That's not what I'm saying. There's a modern way to do more traditional way of doing life
Yeah.
so that everybody's happy because there's a lot of statistic on this for both men and women. They're happier, live longer, make more money, more creative,
Mm-hmm.
healthier. All the goodies of having a good life comes from having healthy relationships first.
Yeah.
I'm in Los Angeles. A lot of people with money, that doesn't
Mm,
make people happy. Because
right.
if even successful people, if they can't get the love dynamic right, they feel like failures. It's the number one teller of the quality of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's how important that is. And out there
Right.
right now, we're destroying all that. In the name
Yeah.
of freedom, equality, go girl, don't need
Mm,
no man, or women are crazy, so they're out of control. The list of demand just to like go on a date, the guy's like, forget this, get the right. So
mm-hmm.
it's not working. It's not
Yeah.
working. None of it's
Yeah.
working. That's to stop.
Yeah.
That's my job. That's my job.
Yeah. You got a tough job.
I know, but I'm not going to do alone. It's like, part of the reason why I do podcasts is to have these conversations to spread out in the world. I do two,
Yeah.
3 podcasts a week, sometimes four,
Yeah.
to actually understand, to teach people to really bring hope to the ladies and gentlemen out there. There is hope. We're
Mm-hmm.
traditionally meant to pair bond. This is what we're wired for, but
Mm-hmm.
everything out in our culture is keeping us from getting there. It
Yeah.
has to stop, right? So we have to recalibrate this whole thing. So along with you helping me spread the word,
Yeah.
right? Spread the hope. There is wait, what? There's a way
Yeah.
to do this. Wait, what? And eventually teaching this to the masses,
Right.
right? Like, and
Yeah.
I'm calling it like this is a dream. This is not. I used to resent the hell out of it because it's a God calling,
Mm-hmm.
but this thing has to, and eventually, slowly, it's going to take a minute, of course, but
Yeah.
this thing has to go Oprah big.
Yeah, we got to get back
Oprah
to,
big. Oprah big.
hopefully, we get back to that one day to where, you know, to where we have families again.
Yeah.
It's no families today. You know what I mean? It's so many
Makes,
broken homes
yeah.
right now,
And everyone's miserable. Everyone's
yeah,
miserable.
everybody's
Men are
miserable.
miserable. Women are miserable. Kids are
Right.
miserable. Right? So,
Yeah.
not
You know?
hopefully, for me, it's not hopefully. I'm doing it, actively
Yeah.
doing it, going for it. And with the grace of God, meeting the right people, and start a movement. Like I said, first national, eventually international.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually the submission. I used to resent it. It's so big.
Yeah. So
But
how do you think that couples can grow together without losing their individual identity?
well, it's again, if you have boundaries, right, and you respect each other, right, for men, is if men feel like women don't get them and try to change them, that is the most disrespectful thing you could do.
Is
Try
try
to
to change a person.
try to change a man, see what happens.
Yeah.
Resent you, will shut down. He may stay with you, but give you no connection, no feeling of safety, no feeling of love and war, like none of it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You change a
Well,
man
you
is the
can't you
biggest
can't
disrespectful thing. On the other side, men are much more willing to accept women the way they are,
mm-hmm.
right? But like again, like stuff like you have to have things on the table. Like so I'm a car
Well, it
guy.
depends on the man too, because
No, no,
there
of
are some men
course.
out there who are very picky when it comes down to women. You know what I
Well,
mean?
they
Like,
should be. They should
yeah,
be. A good woman
and
will.
they should be. Yeah,
They
I mean,
should
and
be.
it should be both ways. I mean, a woman should be picky when it comes down to a man. Because I know personally, I will not want to be in a relationship where I'm providing more than the man.
Well,
You know,
that would be a boy. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
that would be a boy.
Part of my
Exactly.
business is to teach women that there's three types of men in my world.
Mm-hmm.
There's boys, guys, and men. Boys don't want to take responsibility. Boys live small. Boys take advantage. Boys cheat. They lie. They don't want to work. They don't want to spend money on you. They don't want to be responsible for anything. They don't want to marry you. They don't want your kids. They don't want to pay anything for you. They want you to make their lives easier. So the boys are looking for mamas.
That's
And
what they're
when you,
looking for. They're looking for a mother.
right.
That's true.
So when
Yeah.
we have a culture where every woman is masculine and lives like a man, this is what you attract. Like, by the way, again, if the nature of life is there's a
Mm-hmm.
yin yang, a black and white, a masculine and feminine,
Mm-hmm.
and everything in nature is polarized, and that's the point. That's how everything keeps going,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're a masculine woman, nature will have it, not a choice. Nature, energy, right? Frequency will only attract feminine men who
Mm-hmm.
don't want to work, who want you to support them, who baby them, and then you give him a little money because he's trying so hard and life is so hard for him, and he quits his job because his boss is a douche, and he's moving to your apartment because his landlord's an asshole, right? And
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden you're borrowing, you're lending him money that he says he's going to pay back. He never does. He's driving a
Mm-hmm.
car because he can't fix this piece of crap. You're walking his dog because he's sleeping in.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very seductive. They're very sweet. They're very talkative. They're really good in bed, apparently, right? They know how to seduce women. Like
I
girls
don't
seduce,
care how
like
for me.
girls. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Mm-hmm.
Like girls seduce men, right? They become seductive of women, for women to take care of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's boys. Now, it's if you're a masculine woman, that's all you meet, and you think that's men. That's not true. Now, a third of men out there, because of our cultural stuff, are boys. A third. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
However, this also means that 70% that are not there. Guys and
Mm-hmm.
men are next. So, as a woman, if you know how to avoid the boys who are the cheater, the liars, the toxic ones, like men aren't any of that. Boys
Mm-hmm.
are. Boys is
Mm-hmm.
all narcissistic, all about me, all about
Mm-hmm.
me. Men are all about service. Men about
Mm-hmm.
providing, protecting, cherishing, giving, loving, supporting, and guiding
Mm-hmm.
and leading everyone in their lives that they care for. That's
Mm-hmm.
the natural masculine. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're a masculine woman, you only attract boys. So imagine how a woman has to show up and be aware nowadays in a culture where you're all masculine because you were born, you were raised to be masculine and protect yourselves at all costs, and men are dangerous. The masculine men who want children and families, who are looking for women who want to be mothers and wives and are feminine, are looking for feminine women. Like men don't protect all women.
Mm-hmm.
Men energetically are compelled to put their arms and protect femininity.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not your bodies, it's your energy. So
Mm-hmm.
if imagine how feminine you have to be to get on the radar of a man. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're not feminine, you're going to attract boys and your life is going to be hell. This
Mm.
is the work that I do. I recalibrate women into their feminine, your natural essence. Forget the
Mm-hmm.
go girl to a point. You can be go girl at work, but when you get out of work, leave your balls at work because you're all walking around with your balls in everybody's face thinking that's cool. It's not cool. Put your balls in
Right.
my face. I'll shut you down so quick. It's so disrespectful and irritating. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the so again, there's a way to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can be masculine at work, know how to be feminine. Most women don't even know how to be feminine any
Mm-hmm.
longer. They've been just worked out of it.
Yeah.
So, and that
But
is a problem.
that is
That's
that's a
that's the
pro
problem.
it is a problem.
Masculine men are only attracted to feminine women. The guys that's going to
Mm-hmm.
pay for everything, build a castle, a kingdom, and want to pull his queen in and have some children,
Mm-hmm.
only want to do this with feminine women.
Mm. Well, you
Who
know
out
what?
there?
I think these days those I think well in today's world, women are
Not
one.
feminine.
Well, I can't say not feminine. I mean, I would have to say in today's world, women are not looking to just sit home and just be a wife
Really?
and
Really?
cater
That's that's
to
that's what all my women want.
really.
They've done the boss babe over
Because
35.
I
They're
know
like,
for I mean speaking I'm speaking for myself
okay,
personally. I would have to say that for me, you know, I was married for 17 years, and I got divorced, and you know, at that time of my life when I went through my divorce, um I had to play the role of of being that masculine
was he a boy?
type of woman
Was he a boy?
because who
Did you
who
marry a boy?
no, he was not a boy. He was a good man. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He was a
Okay.
good man.
So why did you
It's
leave?
just that
I'm curious.
because we grew apart, it was some infidelity on both parts, on his and mine,
All right.
and
That'll do it.
you know,
That'll do it.
the trust wasn't there
That'll
anymore,
do it.
and we just grew apart, and you know, I wished him well. I mean, he got remarried. I wished him well and everything, but you know, as for me, I would say a lot of women today have been in terrible relationships, and they're just fed up now, and
I
now they're out here just going out here, and a lot of us are out here just taking a role. It's not a conscious thing, it's a subconscious thing. I would
well,
have to say that we're out here, you know, making things happen, getting the bag, getting the money, you know,
mhm.
and not to say that we don't need a man. um you know
But
what I'm saying,
that's
and
the message though. That's the message out there all day
I think
long.
that's the message that a lot of men think that women have in their mind. It's not the fact
No,
you
are
could
you
be a successful woman and still want a man.
right?
I wouldn't have to say we need him. We want him. It's not
Right.
that we need him. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like
right.
we,
No,
it's
so let me say this, right? So if you're driving the bus to work, as in like you're riding the bus to work, right? Like you don't have a car,
uh-huh.
right? This is kind of silly example, but I'll take it home for you, right? So women who take the bus to work and take 3 hours to get there will say stuff like, I don't need a car. It'd be nice to have a car, but I don't need a car. She's never getting a car.
Mm-hmm.
People who decide they need a car to make life easier, go get a car. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? So there's a bit of that. Like we don't need men to be nice, but we don't need them. But all you're signaling is you don't need men. If you understand that men, if you don't need men, the men need to be needed in order to stay attached. I want to
Mm-hmm.
say it
Mm-hmm.
again. If men are not needed, they walk away from you. So if you keep saying you don't need men, you
But a
don't
lot
need
of men,
men, you don't need men.
but a lot of men usually use that as a form of control when they feel like a woman need them. I'm
No,
not
no,
saying all
no,
men are
no,
like that, but
no.
some women in some relationships, men feel like if you need them, depending on what type of man you have, because all men are not bad men. There are some good men out here, and I'm not
Most are
saying,
not, most are good, period.
hmm
Most are good, period.
yeah,
But
I mean, they're good.
needing a man makes it sound like, because this again, this is a cultural crap, right? The need
Hmm
a man is makes you weak. It does not.
hmm
It does not. This is not how men see it. To ask for help, to need support, to need
hmm
somebody that's, like step up to you for you is not
hmm
make you weak. This is what the culture has taught you.
mm.
That's not true. Men do not see you as weak when you need help. Men step up as heroes. They can help. That's what they're made for.
Right, right, and
Again, this is not in the culture, right? So you ladies are like constantly, I don't need no man, but all you
hmm
do is need man. And if you
hmm
don't need man, they go, whatever, forget you. Do you know what I mean?
well, see,
And you feel abandoned.
I never had that thought process. I never felt like I didn't
It's not a
need him.
thought process. It's really just an energy put out.
Put out there.
If
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
independent,
Like,
if you're
I mean,
independent
I
and
understand
strong,
what you're saying. That's what put out there generally, but I think it's more so like right now in 2024, you
mm,
have a lot of women who are uh out here who are pursuing their own careers,
why?
making
Right.
their own money, and still
Okay.
have a sustainable relationship and a sustainable marriage.
Mm.
But at the same time, I don't think that women have to, we have to put uh, our identities or careers or things like that on the line or put it aside.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
That's what I
And
got.
I
That's what I
okay,
got.
well, let me tell you like what works better, right? If you're gonna go with nature and what makes women happy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, a couple of things before that. Y'all raised in a culture where men are the enemy and you can't trust them. So women are so afraid of men, and that's the point in the culture in the polls, that you can't trust, so you have to go man up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So women are afraid. It's easier to build a business than to build a relationship. So you do. There's ABCs to building a business. There's no understanding of what's happening with men, especially
Mm-hmm.
with the crowd that's out there. So this is why you pull that way. Now,
Mm-hmm.
is this good for you? That's what I'm questioning. Like, can you think it through? Because get this. Are you ready for statistic? I'm a statistic freak.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan Stanley, which is a banking institution, right? 10 years ago, and now that the data's in, started looking into what the next trend is, right?
Mm-hmm.
To guide their investors into where to invest to make some money in the future. What's the next trend?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, these are bankers, not politicians,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they've calculated, this is sad, that by 2030, 6 years from now or so, 50% of women will be between the age of 25 and 45 will be single and childless
Mm-hmm.
permanently. So they're actually telling their investors to invest in wine, vineyard, box wine, because women are going to be drinking, pharmaceutical for seriously, I'm dead serious. This is not kidding.
Okay.
This is not cute. It's not even funny.
Right, right.
Pharmaceutical, antidepressant. As of right now, 1 out of 5 women, 1 out of 4, depending where you look, is on antidepressant. That doesn't mean that that means they're not happy, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not working. This lifestyle's not working. And then the next
Mm-hmm.
thing is like then tell them to invest in like cat toys and shit. Like this is for sure. This is so women are more unhappy nowadays than they've ever been in entire recorded history
Mm-hmm.
because we have you pushed into man mode.
Mm-hmm.
You're strong, independent, but it doesn't make you happy. So let me tell you what looks like the modern way of doing this.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I have another client who's living this life, and this is how she gets to have it all as a woman in the world. My
Mm-hmm.
wife is a ballerina.
Okay.
We started dancing. She was 6 years old. Right? She came to Los Angeles. We met. We fell in love. I married her.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have 2 kids. She gets to be a mom and a wife. Right? Traditional. But she never stopped dancing.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout her dancing career, at one point we're both in the business. Um, when we started having kids, right, we settled into like having kid mode,
Mm-hmm.
but she never stopped dancing. So to this day, right, to this day, she teaches 2 colleges in Los Angeles. She works part-time at both,
Mm-hmm.
right, gets all the benefit and works part-time.
Mhm.
I work full time.
Mhm.
My ability to support her full time allows her to work part time, be a wife, a mother, have some space to chill. To one of my favorite memories that I have when I had the other business, I would pull up in my garage in the summer, Los Angeles, right? So 7:30, I leave the house at 7, be home at 7 p.m. That was my
Mhm.
life, Monday to Friday,
Mhm.
and half days on Saturdays. I work. I'm a man. I provide for my family, right?
Mhm.
But I remember pulling up at the garage in the summer because it's still light at 7 p.m., right? I pull up and my car is really loud. So until I turn off the car, I hear nothing. Like the car is boom, 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 boom. I pull up my garage. This happened a bunch of times. I turn off my car. I go, oh, what's this? And I can hear my wife and the kids playing in the pool.
Mhm.
And I go, I did that.
Mhm.
They have the good life. She can be present. She can pick them up at school at 3 p.m. because she works like a girl, not
Mhm.
like a beast, and is allowed and is the space, the energy, the rest to be in the flow, to be feminine, to be nurturing, to be
Mhm.
present, to take care
Right.
of them and me, and take care. You understand? That's the
Right.
perfect life. So
Right.
she still lives a purpose and her mission in life. She's supporting these kids in dance class, but
Mhm.
it's a college. So these are young adult building their career. She gets
Mhm.
to mentor them, to teach them, right? To all nurturing, all loving, all feminine,
Mhm.
part time. The rest of the
Okay.
loving is us
Right.
and her life being chiller, living
Mhm.
her dream, having a family and kids. That's
Mhm.
having it all. But what's
Right.
out there right now, we teach women the men aren't safe. So if you step up like a man all the way through, and you don't know how to let go, you don't know how to be vulnerable, you don't know how to let men help, right? Because you're afraid, and that's a whole recalibration that has to happen. Because again, unless you need men, they don't stick around, right? If you're independent and you don't need them, they don't stick around. If you
Mhm.
prove to men that you don't trust them, they don't stick around. If you're suspicious of men, they don't stick around. So all of the crap that's out there that makes you scared of men is a problem. And again, if
Mhm.
you really get to know men, 70% of them are just good guys who want
Mhm.
to be provide, protect, cherish, give, support, lead, and guide everybody around them.
Mhm.
And yes, they're controlling, but there's a way to also negotiate that. If a guy
Mhm.
isn't controlling, that's the paradigm of testosterone. This is how we wired. As a young man, the moment I get away from my family, as I became a young adult, we have to control every aspect of our lives to survive.
Mhm.
So if I'm the king of my kingdom that I built over the past 15 years, and I want to find my queen to be part of
Mhm.
my kingdom and have, a couple of kids, I'm going to put my arms around all of this. It's
Mhm.
mine,
Right.
right? And that protection often feels like control. But if you kind of double look, most men's over the top, what you call control is protection.
Right.
Now, this toxic, right? The boys will be toxic control. That's what I'm talking about. The natural,
Right.
healthy, masculine male are controlling,
Right.
are loud, are kind of tend to be obnoxious, kind of like over like testosterone, right? They're big. So how do you, as a woman, kind of negotiate them? My wife used to say one one of the things I remember the most because I'm a man, rah, rah, I'm a dude, and I'm frustrated right now. Rah, rah. And she go, babe, 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 you
Mm.
scaring the kids? What do you mean I'm scared of the kids? She goes, you're too loud. I know you're frustrated. Could you just, oh, scared the kids? Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
please. So she would like, ooh, right? Like, so how do you meet? That's the magic. But there's a language for this. I call it Manglish. I teach my ladies to speak Manglish,
Mhm.
to respectfully ask men to adjust and to correct. Because a
Mhm.
man who loves you will adjust and correct per
Mm.
your comfort, because we want to be your heroes. This is instinctual. This is no
Mhm.
manipulation needed. You
Right.
just have to know how to do it. That's again,
Right.
it's a language that I teach that you
Mhm.
ladies don't have. You ladies
Right.
typically will get frustrated and then you put your foot down. You go, I'm sick of your, right? Now you're being combative. That means that he has to be combative. And you understand
Mhm.
that men are warriors
Mhm.
instinctively. You get combative with a man, you're going to lose. And then
Mhm.
you're going to think he's a jerk and you can't talk to him because you can't approach him that way.
Right.
Oh, I could do this all day long. Ah,
Wow. So let me ask you a question. What role does friendship play in a romantic relationship for you?
what does that mean, friendship? Friendship within or without, like outside the relationship?
Within the relationship?
Well, it's more respect. It's more respect, understanding the other person, getting the other person. I was going to tell you earlier, my wife is a beautiful prima ballerina,
Mm.
sophisticated, pretty, gentle, feminine, right? All that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what turns her on. That's what gives her life. That's what she connects with, right? She started at 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I love that about her because it keeps her in that energy. Love that about her.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what I like? Guess what I like? I'm a car guy. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I like? I like dirt, oil. I like
I
I
can
like
tell. I can
I
see it
like
on your
grease.
hands.
Yeah, I know. See, I have 8 cars.
Okay.
It's mostly classic except for two. So these need constant tinkering. I love that. Guess
Right.
this. Watch this. My favorite thing to do in the world. Are you ready?
What's that?
I'm in Los Angeles, right? There's a junkyard 45 minutes from here where you
Mm-hmm.
bring your own tools and you get to find the parts of you have to find the car that you have and find the parts that hasn't been picked off the car because you take it off the car yourself. It's a junkyard.
Mm-hmm.
Eight acres of cars
Mm-hmm.
to hunt for that part, to hunt for that piece that hopefully the car has just been there for a week or so hasn't been picked apart so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is so ridiculous, right? Like from like I like dirt, oil, and being in the desert at 115-degree weather because the sun on metal makes the place hotter.
Mm-hmm.
8 acres of cars. I love it. I love it. There's a hunt in that. I'm hunting for the part, right?
Right.
There's a boom, 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 and trying to like find the car, find the car, find the car, find the car. Oh, there's one. Oh crap! Look at this whole. Right? I come back looking like a homeless guy. I'm covered in dirt. I smell like gas and oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy as a pig.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does it make sense to a woman? Does that make sense to a ballerina? Not at
No.
all.
No.
Not at all. But you know what? She
Right.
gets it. She gets what
Right.
it does for me.
Right.
So
Whatever makes you happy.
respects what I like, respect who I am, respect what turns me on and why, vice
Right.
versa, right? And in the end, get this, she doesn't get it. She can't get it. I know she didn't get it. Doesn't matter, but she sees my face
Right.
when I come back. And sometimes when I'm out of sort, seriously, this is support. This is love. This is friendship in the relationship. When I'm
Mm-hmm.
out of sort and I get very hyper if I don't have anything to do or I don't feel productive. Even on my
Mm-hmm.
day off, I can only sit around for a minute and then I need to move
Mm-hmm.
testosterone.
Right.
She'll go, hey babe, babe, hey babe, babe. Is it time for you to go to the junkyard?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Right. So again, it makes all sense to her, but she knows it. Is it time for you to go to home?
Right.
Is it time for you to go junk? Should you go to the junkyard today? I'm like, what? What? Maybe you should go to the junkyard. Because I come back different. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, go do something, you'll feel better, kind of thing.
Right.
Sometimes she'll
Yeah.
go, do you need anything at Home Depot? I'm like, well, actually, I need some new clippers for the yard, right? She goes, mm-hmm. And then off I go in my little mission. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I So like, this is really getting your partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same way that I get her career and her mentoring does for her kids, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would never want to take that away from her. That would
Yeah.
be ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
If I start complaining that her dancing takes her away from us too much,
Yeah.
is that supporting? Is that getting her? Is that friendship? Is that
Right.
right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So again, these things have to be negotiated or investigated before, right? I talk about so the four things is chemistry, compatibility, communication is what I teach.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding we speak and listen completely different. So these three are essential for long-term relationship. The number four, the four, as I call it, the three C's. You have to have
Mm-hmm.
these three in order to sustain long-term. Period.
Right.
If you don't have chemistry, it won't last. If you're not compatible, it won't last. If you can't communicate, it won't last.
Right.
Simple. The
Yeah.
last one that I discovered the past few years that was a surprise to me is that some people have all three. The number four is circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Divorced 5 years ago, still have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old at home to take care of. That would be
Mm-hmm.
for the man, right? Not available, not ready to commit, not ready to. He's raising his kids, or
Right.
she's. So circumstances are very interesting. Like sometimes just divorced, so not quite divorced yet, and circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But outside circumstances that you have to discover before you fall in love and have sex, because you get bonded to somebody whose circumstances will never work for you.
Mm-hmm.
I had a client just this last week. Her love interest of 4 months is still married to a woman that he's divorced that he's left a year ago, but he doesn't want to divorce her because he's European. And if you divorce her, she now lives in Europe. If you divorce her, she'll have to be extradited back to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the kindness of being a man who's kind, doesn't want to ruin her life by divorcing her, but he's married, which
Mm-hmm.
means he can't start anything with this woman, and he's still in contact with the ex. She's not really sure if he's really detached from her, refused to
Mm-hmm.
divorce, right? So circumstances not
Mm-hmm.
compatible. He's not able. He can't build with this guy, right?
Right.
Now she's devastated because he has all the qualities.
Mm-hmm.
However, they haven't slept together yet, which is exactly what not to do. Because if she did, she'd be bonded and she would have her heart in the toilet for
Right.
6 months, a year. So now she kept her boundaries as she discovered, wow, this is never going to work, even though they had all three. Number four
Mm-hmm.
was missing. This is what smart people do.
Right.
Take your time, investigate. You need all four in order to go
Mm-hmm.
anywhere. And
Yeah.
again, if you're not compatible, again, that's the biggest one. Like I'm in Los Angeles. I remember this couple where,
I think that's the reason why I haven't jumped into anything right away, you know. You
but
know,
you shouldn't. You should take your time. Nine
I mean,
months.
my kids are grown and,
You're still a
and I'm
woman.
enjoying my single life right now. And,
Mm,
I could come and go as I please, not to say that I would not date again.
mm,
But right now, I'm not in a hurry because I feel like I'm not missing anything. You know what I'm saying? I've been
mm.
married, I've been divorced, I dated. That relationship didn't work out because he had issues. Um, and right now, I just been focused on myself. You know what I mean? Just
I get it. I
enjoying,
get it.
yeah,
In
just enjoying my life.
but in
I'm in
the
my
end,
50s and my patience is
yeah.
kind of short too. You
Well,
know?
there's a reason. There's a reason for that too. By the way, get this. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. I think you might like this as well. But the chemistry of our bodies change as we age, right?
Hmm.
So women who have a hard time setting boundaries, they want pleasing and pleasant. They don't know how to say no. You remember that, right? You
Right.
can't say no because again, this is not pleasing and pleasant, and they won't protect us if they're mad at you. Not true.
Hmm.
But this is in your bodies, right? The
Right.
instinct to be pleasant. After menopause, the estrogen drops drastically. And
Hmm.
after menopause, all you ladies are more masculine.
Hmm.
And on the other side of menopause, you have no problem saying no.
Right.
You know, no problem going, bullshit. I'm not doing that. I'm not. So you become more manly just chemically. You get it?
That's true. That
That's
is true.
fact. That's
That is
chemistry,
so
right?
true because
So,
your patience becomes
yeah.
shorter.
No, because you become a man. You don't have the estrogen to keep you in the fuzz area, in the bonding area, in the pleasing area.
Uh-huh.
It's gone. So
Uh-huh.
you're more like direct, you don't give a crap. You could say no with us, you could be displeased. Like no. My mother said to me, this is a few years back. I was wearing a t-shirt. She came in to visit. I'm wearing a t-shirt, and she says to me, "God, that's ugly. God, that's an ugly t-shirt." I'm like, "What the hell? It's a t-shirt. It's so ugly." Like a woman can never say that, but by then she was 80 years old, right? She's like she could say that without any discomfort because she thought it was ugly, and she's gonna let me know, just like a
Right.
man.
Right.
My point is, so this is what happens, ladies. On the other side of menopause, you're masculine more, and no
Hmm.
nonsense. Don't take no shit. Blah blah blah. I get it. However, lonely doesn't work. Alone doesn't work. Independent
Uh-huh.
doesn't work. Doesn't make women happy. They still want attachment in life, companionship, something.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, it's
otherwise,
it's
what's the
nice.
point?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
well, get this
Like
for the
I
men. Get this for
hmm
the men. I just want to give the flip side because it's important. For
okay.
men who are men who are independent and sort of out to work and focus on career and business and conquering out the world, to provide for their families and wives. Do you know what I mean? Often feel disconnected and detached, but that's the paradigm of hunting. So we
Mm-hmm.
all survive. That's on me, right? So
Right.
it's not cute. It's not casual. It takes a lot of freaking focus and work.
Mm-hmm.
Testosterone driven, controlling everything, pushing everything, conquering everything, fighting for everything, right? And it's actually tantalizing for us. It's tantalizing. It's fun. For
Mm-hmm.
you, it wears you out. For us, it's fun, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So on the other side, so we experience what we call andropause. It's the male version of menopause.
Mm-hmm.
Between the age of 45 and 55, our testosterone drops radically,
Mm-hmm.
and men become gentler, softer, more talkative, more feminine.
Mm-hmm.
But get this, I think you might like this. Because when women in your age bracket say to me, well, they all want younger women, right? They're not into us, right? They don't, bull. bull. So, because get this, as much as younger men before andropause,
Mm-hmm.
right? What was one of my coaches said that so brilliantly, and it's totally true that it's like before andropause, men look for women who will leave them alone. I love you, babe. Get off my back.
Right.
Right? Do you know what I mean? So this is masculinity. This is testosterone again. Men are looking for women to leave them alone. Leave me
Mm-hmm.
alone. Let me do my
Right.
thing. I got it. Right? Like so, but women anyway. So, but get this. This is the magic. On the other side of andropause, men do not want to be alone any longer.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be alone. So you've
Right.
noticed widowers get married a year later.
Mm-hmm.
They can't stand it, right?
Yeah, I noticed that.
It's
Men
a fact.
men men cannot be alone. I noticed that. I know this
On
guy who
the
got married 4 times. And
Yep.
I asked him, I said, "What are you looking for?" Men cannot be alone. You're right. And they jump and the
Older
thing
man,
is and they can't older men. Yeah.
older
Well,
man.
actually not even older. Well, then again, I don't know because I've seen guys get divorced twice and jump right into another
Yep,
marriage
yep.
and don't even sit back. And I'm thinking, and usually, if to me, that's not healthy because
No, no,
there's something wrong.
that's something else. That's another thing.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
That's a whole
issue
different
going
issue.
on.
But
I
when
mean,
I'm
if you've
talking
been,
like organically, naturally, physically, on the
yeah,
other side of andropause, men don't want to be left alone. They need companionship. They need somebody to, help them literally with their medication. They stop caring. If there's
mm,
no women around them, they don't care.
mm-hmm,
They don't care about being. They can't make sense of their existence
mm-hmm,
on the other side of that. They literally just like so I had an uncle who he lost my aunt when I was a teen. They were together 15 years. She died of cancer. A
mm-hmm,
minute later, he married another woman. Same thing, 15 years. She also died of cancer. A minute later, he had another girlfriend, and then she died. And he never was alone. But the older he was, the faster it was because so when women say, men want younger women, that's crap. It's not
mm-hmm,
true. And on the other side of andropause, and that side of menopause for you, this is when men want to be with you the most in their existence.
mm-hmm,
What are you talking about, right? So if you take that to the bank, go have fun, right? The guys
mm-hmm,
that are divorced typically are heartbroken. So that I wouldn't say those guys, but the widowers,
mm-hmm,
they were happy with their wives. They just miss them and they don't want to be alone. Go find a
mm-hmm,
widower who's going to take care of you like men do. And it's
mm-hmm,
going to be easy to deal with because he's a little bit older and gentler and softer and you'll
mm-hmm.
talk more, right?
Yeah, I noticed that men can jump right into another relationship just like that. Whereas for women, it takes a while for us to just jump right back into
Well,
another relationship before after
heartbroken,
we've gotten out of a
heartbroken.
relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, if he's not heartbroken, he won't be left alone.
Right. Wow.
That's
Wow.
good
This
stuff.
was yeah, this is some real good stuff. I mean, I'm learning something here.
And we basically scratch the surface. Like there's like so much to talk about all
Oh,
this
I
stuff.
bet it is. I
I
bet
mean,
it is.
there's endless material here, and it's a little bit tedious, but it's not. When you
Yeah.
get it, it's actually very simple.
Right. Yeah.
My clients, my ladies on the other side of the coaching program about, kind of taking care of their old baggage, right? So they get clear-minded and be able to
Mm-hmm.
build relationship in a healthy way as opposed to protecting themselves and be suspicious of man. They understand through like daily and weekly practices how men
Mm-hmm.
are just want right there for you if you ask. If
Right.
they want to be heroes, they never experienced that. They never
Right.
had a daddy to make them feel safe, right? So to learn that and realize who men really are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the other side of the program, like 5 months later, they're like, oh my God, I get it. It's so easy.
Mm.
Understanding instinct of man that will
Mm.
give you everything that you want when you understand what they need to give you everything
Right.
you want. Right. And by
Right.
the way, it works both ways. That men come to me not as often because men don't do that as often.
Right.
Come to me with I had one call me. This is a while back, and he's like, dude, I need your help. What's up? He goes, my lovely wife of 10 years. She was so amazing and sweet, and like, and I married her. She's like my lovely wife. I go, what's up? And he goes, well, I come home now. She looks at me. She goes, oh, it's you, and walks in
Mm-hmm.
the kitchen. He goes, what the hell? He goes, the
Mm-hmm.
dog's happy to see me. What's the problem, right? I
Mm-hmm.
go, I want to call him a dumbass. I go, really? Really? I go, obviously she feels taken for granted. Obviously, you probably don't talk to her very much, right? She feels you neglect her. You don't share your days with her. You don't, right? In that, she feels disconnected, unsafe,
Mm,
and you don't care. So now
mm,
she's freaked out. So again, by you doing nothing, this is what she's concluding.
mm,
So you don't know what she needs. So let me tell you what she needs instinctively for her to feel safe with you. So then she's happy to see you and feeling safe, right? If
mm.
a woman doesn't feel safe, it's over,
Well,
right?
this is a whole educational thing then because people need to, we need to be, I think a lot of people need to be educated in relationships,
That's what I'm up to. That's what I'm
Yeah,
up to. That's what
and
I'm
that's,
saying.
and,
Oprah big,
well, good thing that you're here
I'm
to
trying. I
to
guess
help, to
I'm
help,
not, yeah, I'm not
to
gonna
help.
let go. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
let go until we get
yeah.
there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Andrew, thanks a lot. It was a pleasure having you on the podcast. I really
Save here.
appreciate it. I learned some things in this
Nice.
time that we shared together about relationships. And do you have any information that you want to throw out there for the audience who
Yeah,
might want
yeah.
to get in
Actually,
contact with you? You have
so
any social media handles and
I
things?
have everything. I have everything. So
Okay.
my assistant should have gotten you all of that. I'm on every platform.
Okay.
So if not, let me know. But you should have all this. My website is projectequinox.net.
Okay.
But I have a gift for you listeners if you want. You want
Oh,
a
throw
gift?
it up. Yeah, give
All
them a
right.
gift.
So
I'm
again,
sure they want this gift.
I do a lot of podcasting, spreading the hope, spreading the hope. Yes, it's doable. Yes, there's a way. Yes, you don't understand. It's not your fault. Yes, yes, right? People who come at it want to do it and learn it. You can learn it and
Mm-hmm.
actually have the lives of your dreams. I'm serious. Like, and maybe I'll marry you on the other side. Right? My point is that's that's what I do to spread the word, right? But I noticed because I do a lot of podcasting, 2 or 3 a week,
Mm-hmm.
that there's two types of listeners. And I think it's fascinating. So the first type of listeners is people who just come in because they're curious. They're starting to poke around, right? They kind of like don't understand, like, what's that feminine stuff for the ladies often, right? Like, what's that, like, that whole thing, the feminine, like, I don't know what that means, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
typically. So people who are looking for information, I want to send you directly to my email address. So if you go to Andre coaching, the number one at Gmail, Andre, Ndrecoaching, coaching, number one at Gmail. And in the subject box, you write workshop.
Mm,
Well, I have a free gift for those people who want information. I have created a 25-minute workshop. It's a recording of, get this, you love this, of in our culture, right? We either pick, especially women, but because men do typically this the one in the beginning, there's the love lane and there's the money lane.
mm-hmm.
You cannot be in both lane at the same time. This is why everybody fails a relationship when they're driven by money.
Mm,
Understand? Now,
mm-hmm.
women want it all. You want the money, you want the independence, and you want the companionship and the blah 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 blah, right? But it's impossible. You cannot be in both lanes at the same
Mm,
time.
right.
Another way to say this: you can't worship two gods.
At the same
It
time.
won't work,
Yeah.
right? So, what's the challenge, right? Like, how do you? So
Mm-hmm.
that's the workshop's all about. It's women who are successful at having it all
Mm-hmm.
in segments, not what's out there. So if
Mm,
you're curious, Andre Coaching One workshop, I'll send it to you. You'll hear what I'm talking about. You get a sense of what I'm teaching, and you'll get some input on the women who are successful in balancing both sides, what they do.
mm. Oh,
Good
well.
stuff. I
Yeah, that's
know.
some good stuff. See, y'all hear that? He got a gift
Right.
for y'all. So
So that's
y'all
one.
better. Okay,
The,
what's the other
the
one?
the second one is I noticed some listeners are just sort of like, because I teach nature, right? Everything, it's not my opinion. Everything I'm talking about is nature and science and the data and the research and blah blah, right? So, but it's all based in nature.
Mm-hmm.
What so it resonates with people, even if it's like, what? Wait,
Mm-hmm.
huh? My favorite is I talk to feminists who trying to like shoot me down and make me wrong, and I go, no, no, hold on, blah blah blah, blah. And they go, huh? Oh yeah, never thought of it that way, right? Because it resonates. Anyway, so if somebody that's who's listening, I resonated with, and you're curious, you want to sort of dig in a little bit, right? This takes a little courage to take action. Andre Coaching One at Gmail. In the subject box, go talk now. I will send you a calendar link for my calendar. You get to find a space that's open for you because my calendar is kind of nutty, right? So to find a space that works for you, click on it. It's called a VIP exploratory call for an hour. And in that hour, one on one, like you and I right now, we'll talk about the first thing I do is always go into discovery with where the wheels came off for you as a child.
Mm,
If you're a masculine woman, we'll go right to it. 15 minutes. I'm very good at this. If you're a feminine man, we'll go right 15 minutes. We'll know that. And the beauty of that, like I said, is that people come at me, women, man, but women, I hear this, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with There's something wrong with me. I can't attract a man. I can't sustain a relationship. I'm pretty, I'm young, I'm independent, have money. What's wrong with me? I go, nothing wrong with you. Something, right? Had to step up, man up when you were little. So when we go to this, we go to understand where the wheels came off as a child.
mm-hmm,
Now, you're not broken. You're just a product of your circumstances.
mm,
You're not broken. Now we know what happened. We could fix it.
right,
So if you fix it, right, then you're not broken.
right.
It's not your lot in life. It's just what. So if we could fix it, what's the dream life? Is
Mm,
that marriage and kids, is it companionship long term, right? If you're a little bit older, like is it like somebody to support you, like so you know, like all the goodies. We all are better bonded in pair bond relationship. All of us, whether you're
right,
married or not, right?
right.
So if that's the dream, we could do it. And
Uh,
again, and I'll give you option to, there's different ways to work with me if you want. But if you're a action taker and you want to dig in a little bit, Audio Coaching One, talk now. Like I said, for some people, just that call alone is life changing because it liberates them for the thing they didn't understand
right.
and kind of opens a channel. I'm not broken.
Mm-hmm,
Right. So now the work still has to be done, whether you do it with me or somebody else, but
right, right.
that's an offer. That's it's like this is me spreading the love.
Well, that's good to know. On that note, I want you guys to tune in again for another episode of Let's Talk About This podcast. Andre, it was a pleasure having you on. Thanks for
Thank
sharing
you.
so much information on relationships.
Very
I'm
well.
sure you're going to get some people who are watching this podcast that's going to reach out to you
Hmm.
because now I know why you are a master at relationships.
Thank you. That's very sweet. I appreciate
uh,
that.
and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, the only way I can get people on the podcast is if you subscribe to the channel, but don't just subscribe. Make sure you watch the content because that's the most important thing. We want you to get as much information as possible to help you heal or get through a relationship or whatever. That's what we're here for. And on that note, you guys have a blessed day. And Andre, I
Andre.
called you
Yeah,
Andrew.
it's okay.
Andre. Andre, thanks again for stopping in. I really appreciate you.
My pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you.